And the Rockets are much more intentional about running direct action for him without Kevin Durant on the floor.
It's just a matter of time before Thompson's going to become an all-star. Kennard finds some room, knocks down another.
At 41 years, 109 days old, the oldest guy ever with 10 assists in an entire game, much less a half.
When you look at basketball discourse in 2026, stats, numbers, and analytics play a huge role in how we discuss both players and teams. But there's one stat that requires a ton of context to really understand: the assist. Back in the 50s and 60s, the definition of an assist was incredibly strict. We're talking a pass that led directly to a shot, immediate, no dribble in between. Take even one dribble and it didn't count. By today's standards, that sounds almost unbelievable, but that was the norm for the great guards of that era, players like Jerry West and Sam Jones. So why bring up assists and stats today? It's simple. While rewatching the 2015 finals, Cavaliers versus Warriors 1.0, I kept noticing something. LeBron James was routinely getting what looked like cheap assists on the perimeter, standing still and simply passing out to shooters. Now, to be fair to LeBron, those aren't technically assists on the stat sheet, so that's fair game. But when you actually look closely at some of the assists that are being counted, a lot of them start to look pretty suspect. Want me to keep going and build this out into a full script, or is this the opening section you wanted polished?
It as Mozgov looking to post up Draymond Green. Green battling. Low-scoring, defensive-minded game. Dellavedova. James to Thompson. Thompson gets inside and gets the roll. Falling for it. Mozgov backs in, leads in, layup is good.
For this 2015 Finals rewatch, LeBron's inflated assist count was downright staggering. Looking at the official record books, according to the NBA, LeBron averaged 8.8 dimes per game that series, with a total of 53. Impressive on paper. But doing some digging into the play-by-play data, LeBron's real number was actually 43 assists, for an average of 7.2. Look at that gap between the fake assists and the real ones, almost 2 per game, an average of 1.6. Now, when it comes to comparing eras, yes, you can adjust for pace using per 100 stats, and that's fine in theory. But if the raw stats themselves are juiced, then those per 100 numbers are essentially useless too, because the well is poisoned with inflated numbers from the jump. One thing I want to do quickly for an accurate cross-era comparison is look at John Stockton, Michael Jordan, and Larry Bird, players from the late 80s whose assist totals were actually deflated by the stricter standards of that time period. Take Stockton in 1988 against the Lakers. Officially, Stockton had a total of 115 assists that series, for an average of 16.4, already crazy on its own. But going back to the film, Stockton's real assist total was actually higher by 10, bumping his average up to 17.9. If you grade Stockton's assists by LeBron's 2015 standard, his numbers jump by a full 1.5 assists per game. Again, stat inflation and stat deflation are real factors when you're making these cross-era comparisons. That's true, and take it one step further, look at 2016, LeBron's crown jewel, the greatest series of his career. Surprising no one, the same trend shows up. Officially, he's credited with 62 dimes. In reality, it was only 49. His average drops from 8.9 down to 7.0. Fake. I'm stunned. I'm shocked. LeBron had 13 Fugazi assists in that series alone, and that's me being generous, leaving out a few others that are pretty suspect too. But looking at just those 13 that clearly weren't real assists, LeBron's 2016 run had inflated assist totals, no doubt, just like 2015.
Shot clock down to 6. Irving fakes the 3. Scampers across the lane, left-handed, and a beauty of coming back with huge performances after playoff losses. Kyrie Irving knocks down his first shot. Thompson now on LeBron James. James goes at him. Ball poked away from behind. Tristan Thompson. Wow, nice move.
We have been hoodwinked, bamboozled, led astray, run amok, and flat out.
Stopping right there very quickly, the 2016 finals tape is embarrassing and downright disgusting. But here's the bizarre thing. Looking past that one single series at the previous 3 rounds, LeBron's overall assist count must be fairly accurate. Looking at the first round, the fake assist count is only 1. Second round versus Atlanta, also 1. And versus the Raptors, only 2. LeBron versus the Eastern Conference had a total of 4 fake assists, versus the Warriors in one series having an absurd 13. That's interesting. That's very interesting. Looking at LeBron before the NBA Finals, the official assist count was pretty consistent until the Finals versus Golden State, as that series is the one outlier. Looking at 2016, LeBron averaged 6.8 dimes versus the Pistons, 7.8 versus the Hawks, and 6.7 versus Toronto. But look at the Finals, an absurd 8.9. And here's the thing, take out the fake assists and look what happens. Versus Detroit, the real assist count is 6.5, Atlanta 7.3, Toronto 6.3, and Golden State 7.0. That right there on average is very, very consistent. One more thing worth noting, the 2016 Finals official assist count of 8.9 was at that point in his career the highest mark he'd ever reached, and by a country mile the most he'd ever had in the Finals. And looking at his entire career, his top 10 assist series, take a wild guess when they all came. The past 11 years, 2015 and onwards. Coincidence? I think not. For LeBron James, the first half of his career not having any top 10 assist series is downright bizarre, but looking at how stats are tracked and what an assist is nowadays, it actually makes a ton of sense. The NBA over the past decades tweaked the rules of what an assist is, and nowadays they're very, very lax. To hit that point home, let's look at Michael Jordan in 1989. For Jordan's '89 playoff run, he played a total of 17 games. In modern-day tracking, the overall assist count was wrong in 7 of those 17 games, with at least 1 game wrong in all 3 series versus the Cavs, Knicks, and Pistons. If you think I'm lying, look at Game 2 versus the Pistons in the East Finals. Jordan officially only had 4 assists, but looking at the tape, it's pretty clear he had 6 legit assists that just weren't recorded in the box score.
Jordan couldn't get a shot away, nobody near.
See, he got 2 easy baskets inside. That'll do wonders for your outside shooting confidence.
Pippen. Grant. Cartwright from 8 and a Jordan. Great pass. Cartwright and a foul. Dumars 73. Jordan can't shoot it. Corzine from 18.
Let's start with Michael Jordan's MVP playoff run. According to the official record books, his assist average sits at 7.6 per game, already impressive on its own. But when you go back and recount those assists using today's standards, the real number climbs to 8.1. That's an increase of half a point. Now let's look at our final player, Larry Bird, from the 1986 Boston Celtics championship run, an 18-game playoff stretch. Using modern assist tracking rules to re-examine that season, Bird's average jumps from an official 8.2 all the way up to a corrected 9.8. That's a massive boost. Here's the point I'm making, and it's simple. During the Jordan, Bird, and Stockton era, assist totals were undercounted because of how strictly an assist was defined back then. For today's players, the opposite is true. Assist counts are inflated. So when we compare stats straight across eras without adjusting for that, the numbers stop telling the truth, and that matters. So how do we actually fix this? There are 2 ways to look at it. The first approach is straightforward. Take Bird, Jordan, and LeBron James and recalculate every one of their assists using today's modern standard. When you do that, Bird and Jordan both get a boost, while LeBron's number stays exactly where it already is. Here's how it shakes out. Larry Bird, 9.8 assists per game. Michael Jordan, 8.1. LeBron James 7.6. The second approach works in the opposite direction. Tighten the rules back to the stricter definition of an assist used in the 1980s. Under that standard, Bird's real average is 8.2, Jordan's real average is 7.6, and LeBron's real average drops to 6.8. No matter which way you slice it, the old school players come out ahead. Adjust everyone to modern standards and Bird and Jordan's numbers rise. Adjust everyone back to 1980s standards and LeBron's numbers fall back down to earth, landing right alongside Jordan and Bird. That's the core breakdown of this video, but there's one more thing worth saying. Stat inflation is absolutely real, that much is clear. But beyond the raw numbers being skewed, if you actually go back and watch the game film, you'll notice something else. A lot of LeBron's assists are frankly low effort. Like I mentioned earlier, standing at the top of the key or on the wing, then just kicking the ball out to a shooter who curls off a screen and does all the actual work to get open, that assist barely required anything from him. Now, were all of his assists like that? Of course not. But compare that to Bird, Jordan, and Magic Johnson. The way I'd classify their assists are dynamic. They're the ones doing the heavy lifting to actually create the open shot. LeBron, on plenty of possessions, is simply standing still and delivering a simple pass to a shooter who then makes the basket. Again, not every one of LeBron's assists falls into that category. He's had plenty of genuinely great dimes, but when you stack his numbers up against Bird, Jordan, and Magic Johnson, the frequency of easy or low-effort assists is noticeably higher for him than it was for those guys in the 80s and 90s. So the takeaway is this. Stats can absolutely be misleading. Not all assists and not all players' assists are created equal. As always, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it.